Vâng, rất vui được gặp lại quý vị và các bạn trong chương trình Tôi Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC. Ngày hôm nay tôi rất hân hạnh được mời đến trường quay anh Rudy van Bork, tổng giám đốc của Brainstones International, một công ty về đầu tư và xây dựng bất động sản tại Việt Nam. Hi Rudy, thank you so much for coming.
Nice to meet you.
Trải nghiệm đầu tiên của chàng trai Hà Lan Rudy van Bork ở Việt Nam thật đặc biệt. Đó là một cuộc hành trình bằng xe đạp đẩy trên quãng đường hơn 2.000 cây số từ Bắc chí Nam. 27 ngày trời ròng rã với đầy đủ những cung bậc cảm xúc và trải nghiệm văn hóa sống động, Rudy đã quyết định ở lại Việt Nam và theo đuổi ước mơ phát triển ngành du lịch đầy tiềm năng. Đối với Rudy, chơi thể thao là một phần không thể thiếu trong cuộc sống. Nó giúp anh có được đầu óc tỉnh táo và ý chí bền bỉ trong những quyết định kinh doanh. Với phong thái thân thiện, cởi mở và nụ cười thường trực trên môi, Rudy luôn tạo cho người đối diện một cảm giác thật thoải mái. Anh tâm sự rằng nếu có ngày phải rời Việt Nam, điều anh nhớ nhất chính là những con người bản xứ chân thật và hiếu khách. Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Welcome to FBNC.
Thank you.
Pretty good. I know it's amazing. 9 years ago, you came to Vietnam and you did over 2,000 kilometers kick bike trip from north to south Vietnam. A special kind of sport here. We don't have that kind of sport here.
Yeah.
What was the reason behind that story?
It was a personal matter, but no problem. I was in love with a girl in Holland, and we had some difficulties.
Okay.
So I want to escape, and not to escape. I want to think about my life and about how to continue my life. But I needed really time for myself, and I had a dream to go to Vietnam. I read a lot of Vietnam people bicycle there and go off the beaten track. And since I did a world record on a kick bike a long time ago, and kickbiking was in the Western world in that time, so I thought, why not combine it, take the kick bike, go to Vietnam and do a tour myself, and then combine it with something for charity. So I did, and there I was.
But how do you prepare for that trip, because you don't know the place already? You haven't been here before. How do you bring the kick bike over here and, have a gut to, to do a really long trip from north to south? Are you, afraid of any kind of challenges or fear of something that you haven't run into before?
Yeah, well, that's life, right?
Okay.
And especially with adventures like this, I like challenges. Maybe that's why also I'm still here, or again here, to do some work. How did I prepare? I did a lot of kickbiking to prepare, because a trip of almost 2,500 kilometers.
That's a long trip.
It's a very long trip. It finally was 27 days. Mm-hmm. So that's about 8 hours per day on a kick bike. I lost 21 kilos. 21 kilos. That's almost a kilo a day.
So you run like 8 hours a day?
Yeah.
Non-stop?
No, non-stop. I stopped for certain places. Mm-hmm. I have to eat and to drink, of course. So that is one part of the preparations. I studied about Vietnam, about the geographic of the country, the people, of course, a little bit about the language, which was very difficult. Okay. And then I did the trip, and then I could put my mind set on zero and go back to the basic of life and think about this problem of my relationship, which I did during the trip.
Did you run into sort of like the language barriers when you met with someone on the trip and they don't know English and you know too little about Vietnamese and get into challenge because of miscommunication during the trip?
Miscommunication, yes, actually a lot, especially when you talk about directions.
Tell me about some story about it.
The direction is not about that you misunderstand, because direction you can say you go this way or you go this way, but it's that the people, they have no any idea about directions. You ask a way, and then you ask two people, and one says you go this way, and another says at the same time you have to go that way, and then they look at each other. Are you sure? Then you ask the distance. They have no any idea about distance, because some people count in kilometers, some in minutes or hours, and you get totally figures that not match. So actually, I didn't trust much on those figures, but it was nice to communicate with the people, and they were very surprised. So I wore a T-shirt. It said, Toi Rudy, and then a whole story in Vietnamese.
Okay.
And the summation was that I'm Rudy van Bork, I'm from Holland, I'm here for peace. Actually, I did it for a medical committee,
Okay.
the charity fund, but I'm here for peace
All right.
between Holland and Vietnam. So I showed my T-shirt, and then they saw it, and they understood, and in the best Vietnamese, they were very hospitable, and it was amazing to get into touch with the people. And the language was great, because I remember in Hue, I went to the beach, and then a group of students, they came to me and invited me, and we sit around in a circle with 25, 30 students, and we talked their best effort in English.
Okay.
And they taught me some Vietnamese words, and that happened all over Vietnam.
So you didn't get lost, did you?
No, yeah,
Okay.
I got lost a lot, but because of the different directions I was appointed to, but I was never really lost.
Wow, so it's been a long trip. What do you remember the most about that trip?
Well, the people. Vietnam is all about the people. From north to south, the people are different, but they're all very hospitable. They're very, they're very basic. Basic in the sense of they're themselves. They're not made. There are a lot of countries where you come and they say, "Oh, this is nice for you, and blah, blah, blah." They talk towards you. Now, these people just are themselves, and they say whatever they think, they show their emotions, and especially when you go to more deserted places in Vietnam, like between Lao Cai and Hanoi, where not a lot of tourists come, foreigners. Then they are very intense with you.
Excited to see a foreigner like you. Right?
No, like me, any foreigner, and that's cool. That's very interesting, and you go basic with them. You go to their house, you go to their life, and it's very pure. That's the word. It's pure, the pureness of the people, and that was most impressive for me anywhere where I went. And once again, I could stay anywhere at any place. Everybody invited me for dinner or lunch or for a drink or stay at their home, which several nights I had to do because there were no hotels, which is very interesting. And that was the most memorable about that whole trip. The people from north to south of Vietnam, everywhere, very friendly, very hospitable, and interesting, because a different culture for me. As a Dutch guy,
sure,
we have a totally different life. And then when you meet all these people in their surroundings, in their culture, and then you have to follow, you have to see, you have to, the funerals, the weddings, and all these kind of things that you see on the way. Also, unfortunately, the accidents and the emotions from the people and the reaction of that.
You must see a lot of things on the way.
And all these things are on that way that during the tour that you see. So Vietnam for me is a country of people.
Did you make any friends?
A lot of friends, and still some of the friends I'm still contacting with.
That's nice.
A lot of friends that went overseas, they went out of Vietnam or something, but still in contact with them, and this is good. After 6-7 years, still in contact with them.
All right, it's really nice. How does the road conditions in Vietnam compare to what you have experienced before in Holland?
Very good question. In that time, a lot of bridges were still under construction.
Okay.
Of course, from a long time ago.
So that's 9 years ago, and a lot of construction still going on.
Yeah,
right?
and I think from that time till now, at least 1,500 bridges are repaired.
Sure.
That were not repaired by that time. So a lot of times I have to go off the kick bike and carry it along the way. The good thing was that sometimes something broke on my kick bike. So they always helped me.
So you borrowed a tour from them?
No, they did it for me.
Okay.
They're very helpful. Yeah.
Interesting. So, over 20 days in Vietnam from north to south, you've been to many, many places. What were your favorite places?
Like I said, I think the Lao Cai Hanoi trek was very impressive. I like mountains, I like trees. No, you have mountains and trees all over the place there. And village-wise or city-wise now, because Hoi An became a city, I like Hoi An. Hoi An is very
I can tell.
picturesque and very, very special.
So what came to your mind first when you reached the destination at that time after 27 days?
It was quite related to my body situation in that time, because I lost 21 kilo, like I said.
21 kilo?
21 kilo.
Okay.
So the only thing was I was looking for something that hold me standing.
Okay.
Yeah, the last 3 days I only eat banana shakes and banana and some rice porridge, right? Porridge,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
So the thing was in my mind was, yes, I did it. and there was a big press conference with 250 people from newspapers,
Oh, there's a lot of people
from
right there.
television.
It's a big achievement, you know that, right?
It was great, yeah, and the medical committee people were there, of course. Even the people came from Holland to see this event, and all the people from the hospital and stuff. So it was, and they have the big signage,
You're still in
new
good condition.
world record.
Your body is still in good condition.
I stayed overnight in hospital because I get this extra water, salty water. Yeah.
Did you have any problem with Vietnamese food throughout the trip?
No, never.
No,
Never.
okay.
I never had any problems. I learned that I was in Asia before during a world trip, and I learned that you have to eat at the place. You can eat in the places in the street, but you have to eat at those places where or a lot of people are, and when there's a relation. So if there is, for example, a fried meat or fish in behind the glass in this small cabinet or something, don't go there. But if there's a relation of people coming and going, then it's kind of fresh.
So it's fine. Okay.
Yeah, and it worked. Right. It worked. I was never stomach sick.
That's very interesting story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Let's go back after the minutes break. Okay. Vâng, sau đây xin mời quý vị cùng giải lao trong ít phút trước khi quay trở lại phần 2 của chương trình. Xin cảm ơn. Vâng, xin chào mừng quý vị tiếp tục theo dõi chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam trên kênh truyền hình FBNC với phần 2 cuộc trò chuyện cùng anh Rudy van Bork, tổng giám đốc của Brainstones International. Hi Rudy, welcome back. So, I know you were with Labella International living in Vietnam before, and now you changed to companies called Brainstones International, doing the same thing with the same people. How's that? Can you tell me about that journey?
Yeah, another journey. I was here 7 years ago with Labella International Living, and we developed some projects. The most progressed one is Bai Cham Hideaway Resort in Phu Yên province. Then we are working on Hoi An, a project on Hoi An, 1.3 kilometer coastline, and 3 or 4 other projects, of one which is the master plan of Bai Sao in Phu Quoc.
Okay.
All under the name Labella International Living. Although Labella was heavily damaged by the crisis of 2008 and still suffering from that. So they had to decide to pull back some of the countries they were new and freshly investing in their 26 years of experience in this kind of field of business.
Okay.
And they pulled back on Vietnam. So we had to find another investor to continue the work. The 2 projects, most progressed ones, are taken over by investors from Holland, and we work for them on these projects with the team we had already. So we could guarantee that we can continue working on these projects safely for the projects and safely for the people in this field.
So now you're working with Brainstones International on the same projects with the same team.
Yeah, correct.
The Bai Cham's resort project.
Yeah, and more, because Brainstones want to grow into Vietnam. So these projects are actually from other owners, and then we deliver the services to them to develop, like a master plan service, project management, and from A to Z, from finding the land up to delivering the key. But we also want to do that in own developments. So we do a market research on what the customers want in the field of real estate and land ownership. And then with these wishes from the potential customers, we find the right projects and we invest in those projects to develop according to the wishes of the potential customers.